Hi, welcome to the sixth episode of this monthly series where I discuss some of the new intelligent human computer interfaces that we design at the Augmented Human Lab that I direct. So, today I'll be talking about a project related to self tracking of stress. This was done by one of my PhD students who's currently now in UNSW, Australia. So, as usual, I will first go through some of the questions that I received before the live webinar, and then I will open the floor for any questions from those who are connected now. Right. So, in terms of questions, the first question I had was what is StressShoe? So, basically, this is a new interface that can track acute stress uh, when you are working on sedentary tasks, and it works based on foot pressure, motion, and posture characteristics. You can think of this like the screen time app you have, right? So what it does is it gives you an overview of the time you spent on the phone looking at the screen. Similarly, the stress shoe gives you that kind of awareness of the stress that you had been feeling over the days. In addition to that, it allows you to create interventions. Uh, so something like things like when you feel stress, you could set the stress shoe interface to change your the desktop screen.
Changing wallpaper to control the ambient
Or you might
environment.
create intervention if the
Turning
system
on
detects that
relaxing
you are
music to
stressed.
create
It can
distractions.
trigger a music, so you can get a break from work, or it can create notifications such as suggesting you to go for a coffee. So you can create those
Setting
uh,
reminders for new
change of
routines like having a
routines
coffee
or
break
different types of interventions
or
based on
notifications.
the stress that the system detects. So how does this work? There are few components. I'll talk through a video. So there is a sensor tag that is attached to your shoe, as you can see from this image here.
We adapted a method to track stress based on foot
So this is
posture and
basically a
motion
little
characteristics by using an off-the-shelf
inertial
IMU
measurement
sensor
unit
tag.
that can track the motion of the foot,
Connected
and
with
it
a companion
streams
mobile
the
app.
data
A
to the
focus group
mobile app
study and
that
a
we have
pilot
developed,
study informed the
and from
mobile
there you
interface
can
design for stress tracking and
set those
personalized stress
interventions.
interventions.
You can also see the history of
After connecting, the
the
sensor needs to be
intervention,
calibrated.
and we have also connected this to a powerful platform where
Then
all
users can
those
select the stress level and the
interventions can
logic
be
of the
triggered, such
condition
as
to
triggering
trigger
an
an
email,
intervention.
SMS, changing music, things like that. Yeah, so basically the sensor tag is a little uh, round shape initial measurement unit, and it's a couple of centimeters of diameter. And as you can see from the images below, it doesn't matter what kind of shoe you are wearing. It could be a slipper, it could be a shoe. You just need to attach to that. Then it detects the subtle movements of the foot, stream that data to a mobile app. On the back end, we have developed a machine learning algorithm that uses this foot motion data and infer the stress level, acute stress level. And then the mobile front end, on the horizontal uh, mobile view, you can see the dashboard that shows the history. So you can look at different times of the day, the different levels of stress. And on the left hand side, you can see the mobile interface where you can set different rules. If I'm feeling stress above this level, maybe control my notification or play some music, things like that. So that's how it works. The next question is, why does it matter? So I guess some of us can easily relate to this, the stress that coming from the work. In fact, the World Health Organization has indicated that the work-related stress as one of the most common health problems. And we know, given the deadlines and amount of work, we don't even know the amount of stress we are under. And this prolonged uh, exposure to stress could lead to various health problems, sleep disorders, and all the way to anxiety, depression. So it's important to be aware of your stress that you uh, feel at work, and have strategies to overcome, and even create interventions to break from that stress feeling moments. That's why it is quite important. So the last question I had was, why food? And that's an interesting question, and that's exactly what my PhD student also explored during his PhD. And one way to answer this is, why not food? We can think of other interfaces such as smart watch, smart glasses, smart rings, things like that. But those are quite specialized devices, and the chances of us carrying them is much less, and it's not that widespread compared to shoes or slippers, something that we always have with us and we always wear them. So it makes sense to augment the foot worn devices, because it's very likely that we have one of them. It's easy to integrate, there's enough space in them, and you can create a lot of discrete interactions, unlike somebody having to look at the watch and do something, or wear this bulky smart glasses kind of stuff. We can embed things in the food, so you can in this case we can sense the stress. But there were other projects that we did where we can not only sense stuff, but we can also provide feedback that nobody will ever be able to see. So uh, it's a ease of integration, the fact that it's always available, and the discreteness makes it a really good interface to think of new ways of interacting with information. Yeah, so that's kind of answers to some of the questions that I received before the webinar, and I'm happy to take questions from the audience now. Any questions from the audience regarding the stress shoe, or any projects related to smart food interfaces? You can always visit www.ahlab.org, where we have all the projects listed, including the stress shoe, and you can read about the project. You can watch the videos and the papers that we have published. You can always email me if you have a question, Suranga at ahlab.org. So if there's no questions from the live audience, we will conclude the session, and I'll come back next month with another live webinar where we will pick another innovative project from the lab and go through that. Thank you for connecting. I'll see you in a month's time. Thank you. Oh, sorry. As I about to leave, someone is asking question. How does the stress shoe collect the data? As I mentioned, there is a little sensor tag, which is basically capturing the motion. All you need to do is to put that in your shoe or attached to your slipper. It detects the motion data, stream that data to our mobile app through Bluetooth. And in the mobile app, we have the machine learning algorithm that uses this motion data to infer the stress level. Anjana is asking, what's next? Up to what level you have planned to develop this? That's a great question. So, as I mentioned several times earlier, what we do in the lab is to show the concept and do the scientific validation. So, what we have done is we have developed the machine learning algorithm and done the science experiments to show that indeed we can detect stress based on the foot motion data. Then we build the proof of concept prototype, the mobile app, and we have given it to people to use it for a number of weeks to see it is useful, what are the kind of interventions people do. And we have published both this work, the one journal paper on the algorithm, another paper on the user interface and the different types of interventions that make sense. That's where we are with the development. I guess the next step would be uh, either the researchers would have to spin off a startup and try to commercialize, or we have to work with a industry partner who's interested in this technology and give them the our know-how so that they can integrate into their existing set of commercial services or products. So yeah, so the short answer is we have done the R&D part. The proof of concept is there, and in this particular case, it is very unlikely that the researchers will spin off a company, given that the main PhD student is now a research fellow in Australia. But we are still keen to see this going into the industry. So if anyone is keen to have this adapted into their commercial services or products, we are happy to talk and see how we could work together. Uh, are you only focusing on work-related stress? For now, for this particular work, we were basically trying to detect stress when you are doing seated tasks. But then there's potential of extending this work if you're doing moving related things. Then we'll have to do a bit more calculations and try and exclude the motion part from the motion part comes from the walking, exclude that from the data, and then use the other involuntary motion of the foot to infer the stress. We haven't done that work, but it's potentially interesting, and that's something we could talk through and consider working. We haven't done that yet, but certainly there's an interest, especially my PhD student. His entire work during the thesis and now is around foot related interfaces, and I'm sure he'll be also interested in talk more about these other possibilities. Oh, so Samira Kaswan is asking, is it reduce the stress or only measure it? So, firstly, it gives you awareness, just like the screen time map that gives you overview of how much time you have been watching your screen. So the same thing, this interface also shows you how much stress you have been feeling over the course of the day or the last week or the last month. You have that history. Then you can use that to reflect. Oh, looks like I've always been stressed at work, I need a break, that kind of thing. That's one thing, creating the awareness. Second thing, it allows you to create intervention. So sometimes we don't know that we are feeling stress and we just keep on going, but you can set interventions. If my stress level goes beyond this, maybe play a music, or maybe change my wallpaper, or get someone to call me, that kind of things. So that will break that prolonged exposure to stress. uh, those are the two things it does now, creating awareness and helping you to create interventions. It doesn't directly reduce your stress, but this intervention helps you to uh, not exposed to stress for a prolonged period without you even realizing, because you are just overwhelmed with work. So in that sense, it is kind of uh, creating that just-in-time intervention to avoid prolonged exposure. It doesn't reduce the stress, so it creates awareness for you to take actions to not be exposed to stress so much. That's kind of nice. I got a whole array of questions as I was about to leave. Oh yeah, one more. Is it an ongoing project? So does a new lab member can enhance the project? Uh, so this particular piece of work is done and published, but again the idea of creating smart food interfaces and expanding this work, as Anjana asked earlier, can we extend this to other type of stress? uh, can we further improve the mobile interface? And so there's still opportunity to scope different projects, and depending on the scope of the project, it could be a short-term visit, it may be a master's level project, it may be a PhD level project. That possibility is still there, but we need to scope that there's new research to be done, there's new contribution to be made, so that possibility is there. Okay, one more question from Samira Kaswan. This can be extended to industrial safety, isn't it? Any thoughts? Yeah, we did think about this, especially uh, one application area we thought of was in those production lines where people are seated and sorting out, say, for example, electronic components, right? In some of those situations, when you enter into that production line, you have to wear the company given shoes, so you can easily integrate the stress shoe sensor into that, and then hopefully make sure that your production lines are efficient. You can make it a win-win situation where you don't want people to be overstressed and making more errors. At the same time, uh, you can create that mutually beneficial scenario of being productive, as well as the employee welfare part. Again, this is just a concept we have. We haven't done any work in creating such application. That's where we would be really keen to partner with someone who think they can build the application. We can provide the know-how in terms of the the machine learning algorithms, as well as what we learned during some of our user studies. Wow, I didn't think when I was about to conclude I will get this many questions. Thank you so much for those who asked questions. And as I said earlier, you can always visit www.agelab.org/projects to read more about this project. The papers has all the information, as well as reach out to me. Oh yeah, so one more question. Any plans to identify issues related to food health using the same technology, flatbed? In fact, we have done some work. The best is, let's see, what's the best way. One way is we can talk offline. The other thing is, on the website we have listed down the number of food uh, related interfaces we have done. One example I can recall is, uh, we have done an interface where we can recognize the body posture and provide interventions, so that when you do full body exercises, you reduce chances of uh, having injuries. There's another one, we could detect the terrain that you're walking on, whether you're on a sand floor or a grass floor or a concrete. And then that is something that you can use to to create intervention, so that you don't have those lazy knee issues. There are a number of those projects, I guess. If you send me an email or Facebook message, we can talk more about this number of work. And in fact, one of the postdocs, he created a startup using this terrain detection work that he has done. I can share those information. Yeah, so the best would be to maybe have this discussion bit of offline, and I can provide all the information. Yeah, very active session. Thank you so much. So I'll come back next month with another project. Uh, Thank you so much once again for those who kept asking questions, and that makes this really engaging and very satisfying for me as well to share the information. Yeah. So we'll see you all in the next episode. Take care. Bye.